Wow. Well, thank you so much, Naila. And there are other Noon family members here, so we'll be looking to you as well in due course, maybe. That's wonderful to have that direct link. I want to now remember a few other colleagues here. I was looking back, and I actually have been chair for 20 years, which is quite a while. But I took over from a very esteemed colleague, Humayun Khan. And it is such a pleasure to see you here, Humayun. We haven't seen you for a few years, for one reason or another. And I was absolutely thrilled when you said that you could join us with your daughter. And you knew Vicky, you set us on our course. You've done enormously positive things for Pakistan and for the Commonwealth. I'm involved with Victoria Schofield, who's here on a journal and a foundation. So, we're very proud to have you here. And thank you very much, Humayun. There are a few other previous trustees that I'd like to remember. Now, John Barron was also one of the founding trustees who passed away a few years ago. And I was in touch with his widow, Jill, who had planned to be here. I was looking for, and she was very, very determined to be here because how much John cared about the trust and about Vicky. But unfortunately, in the end, because she's quite elderly and one of her family members could not bring her, she didn't feel confident to come, which is a pity. Another wonderful previous trustee was Dame Louise Johnson, who I discovered sitting next to her at a dinner at Corpus, where I was a fellow and she was a fellow. These are the kind of things that happen at Oxford, can only happen at Oxford. I discovered that she was actually the widow of Abdus Salam. And I said, wow, we need you on our trust and so on. And she performed with great distinction as a trustee. And it was wonderful to have her with us. Andrew Gowdy, also another trustee, recently retired, a professor of geography at Oxford. Now, I want to pick on another one of our trustees, Nicholas Barrington. What a distinguished diplomat, and what a friend of Pakistan, and what a terrific... I haven't even finished and they're clapping. What a terrific enthusiast and supporter of everything that the Trust stands for, and if I might say so, the guardian of Vicky's vision, the torchbearer who keeps the conscience of the Trust, keeps us all up to the mark. If we were ever slipping below the level, there is Nicholas to correct us. He's a wonderful human being, and I hope, if there's anyone who hasn't read his memoirs, rush out and buy them. You can probably get them on Amazon now, slightly discounted. But otherwise go to Heifers or Blackwell's or wherever is nearest. I just think, so the main work, the important work which describes his contributions to Pakistan is called Envoy, Diplomatic Journey. But I rather like the title of his second volume, because he is so full of stories and ideas and remembrances that the publishers were quite mad at him and forced him to go into 2 volumes, because if he'd been in 1 volume, nobody could actually have picked it up. And the second volume is, only Nicholas could do this, is entitled Nicholas Meets Barrington. And I think that's a meeting that all of us would like to be at, were it only possible. Can you imagine 2 Nicholases in the same, at the same meeting? So Nicholas, thank you so much again for all that you do. I would ask you to say something, but I think, would you like to?
All I would say is,
please.
I support, and you have other things to do, and we're very grateful. Thank you very much.
That's very kind. Thank you very much. And as I said, one of the pleasures of this is actually because we have just a wonderful body of trustees. So let me remember the other trustees. There is Haroon Ahmed, who is just a tour de force, and he corrects us on all our... We have these many applications from very, 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 very bright engineering or scientific or physics or biology students, and without Haroon's guidance, we wouldn't be able to read any of the formulae or assess whether this is gibberish or, you know, a frontier science. So we're very grateful to him. As you know, he's an expert on Cambridge's computing. He's written a wonderful book about that, so he's wonderful. Ehsan Mani looks after our accounts and guides me and fellow trustees. And I'm sorry, Ehsan, it's been a stressful day for you. Wearing one of your many other hats. You know, he plants trees all over Pakistan. So when Pakistan does reach its great potential, which is, you know, around the corner, getting closer, at least it'll be green. It'll be green and perhaps environmentally not as bad as it might have been without him. And his wonderful wife, Frances, is here as well. Rosemary Raja, who's, I think you're an expert on Sindh, aren't you, Rosemary? And you're a writer, and she's keeping us up to the mark, and is a great enthusiast and a great defender of... She wants us to look at every single application fairly, which we do try, but she reminds us of the many kind of qualities and skills there. Ahmed Hussain, who's joined us recently, gave a wonderful talk last year about the role of the lawyers in the civil movement, great human rights advocate, and just so important to the future of Pakistan. And we've had great pleasure in Amina Saeed joining us, who's run OUP with such distinction for 30 years and has fought, you know, the government and censorship on the one hand, and complicated management people from Oxford worrying about semicolons on the other hand. So she's actually made OUP Pakistan incredibly famous and well known. So it's a wonderful group. And Professor Faisal Devji has just joined us. And he is a dear friend and colleague at St. Antony's, where I'm also involved. And he brings great seriousness and distinction to our work. And he has many, many contacts, so I'm going to tap him on that in the future. Thank you for that. Now, you should be passing the port around. Okay, we've tried to give you an Oxford evening. Please help yourself to chocolates and coffee. And the idea was that you would be keeping yourself refreshed during these comments.